So today you're going to learn how to set up your workstation. You've got a bench pin, which is just a wood with a V cut into it, a C-clamp, a clamp that's shaped like a C, your jeweler's saw frame, and you're going to get a tiny blade from me. This is a jeweler's saw blade, and it looks like a string, but there actually are little teeth on there. When you place it into your saw frame, it has to be down and out, and I will talk a little bit about that. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to set up your station. Try opening this first so that it's wide enough. You're going to clamp it so that it's in the middle of here. You want to be able to pivot your project as you're working on it without hitting the C-clamp. So if you do this, you won't be able to turn. So you want it hanging off of the table. Then you're going to turn the clamp until it's nice and tight so that nothing moves. And you're going to get your saw frame. On the saw frame, there's these little plates here, and you're going to open them up. When I am inserting the blade, I look at the little teeth, but I hold my saw frame in my knees. While I look at the teeth, I make sure that they are down, and facing out. Then you're going to put the saw blade in the first top little plate and turn it away from you until it locks. And you're going to put the other one down here. Now, because we have to do the pierced holes first, you're going to thread it with the paper side going away from you. Be careful, the blade's really tiny. You're going to put it way down here. Then you're going to use the table to add tension. So the blade is here, but I want it down here. So I'm going to push and actually bend the saw frame and then tighten it. If you check your blade, it should make a ping noise, not a thud. It shouldn't wiggle at all. Then when you are going to cut, you're going to support it on the bench pin, and you're going to take your fingers behind the blade like a little peace sign and hold it down. So when you're sitting, you need to make sure you're not slouching. Your back needs to be straight up and down, and your blade needs to stay straight up and down. So when you go to cut, you're supporting the project so it doesn't flop and snap your blade, so you have to have it down on both sides, and then you just start moving it straight up and down. As I cut, I move the metal, not the blade. Now you can see my finger is right in front of the blade, so I want to position myself so that I'm behind it. I need to make a turn, so to make a turn, you're not going to turn the blade at all. You're just going to chop very small and pivot the project very slowly. I almost back into the corner because the back side of my blade does not have teeth. And then once it has turned, then I can use the full blade. So I'm going to use the full blade, get to the next corner, and then I'm going to use tiny choppy movements as I turn the metal. When I turn the metal, I'm making sure my fingers are behind, because if you're in a hurry, it can snap and jump right into your finger. So you can see that this blade is cutting the metal like butter. It'll cut through your skin just as fast. So you're going to go straight up and down using the full blade. If you change your blade so that it's on an angle like this, you put pressure on it and it will snap because it's so tiny. So you want to make sure that you're not pushing, you're just going up and down. So here's another corner, just going to use a few teeth on the blade very quickly while I slowly move the metal. When I get to a straight area where I don't have to turn a corner, I use the full blade. Those teeth chop right through it. Get to the corner. I'm constantly supporting it, so I have nowhere to support it here, so I'm going to move my whole body so that it's on the edge of the bench pin. And I get to that section, and I've done the whole thing. The little scraps will fall out and hit the floor. Copper is great to recycle, so I will have a box for all of the small bits, so don't throw even the smallest piece away. Now I have one pierced section done, so I put it back in my knees. I pull the knob towards me, it pops out, and then I can thread it into another hole. Now let's say your blade breaks halfway. If it breaks in the middle, it's kind of garbage. if it doesn't break in the middle, it breaks up here, breaks down there, you can actually take the back end of your saw frame and adjust it to keep reusing that same blade. You can use blades even that long. If they're shorter, it's almost comical, so there's no point in trying. But try to reuse your blade as it breaks and throw the little pieces of blades away. After you've got all of the insides out, you're just going to thread, or you're going to place your blade. I always lock it way back here and then push. So that way now I can cut the outside edge of my project. So let's pretend that all my holes are cut. Now I can just come in from the side edge. Sometimes it's hard, you just gotta catch your groove, pull down. Once it's in there, start slicing. Now you can see that this corner is super tight. I don't really have to turn around if I don't want to. I can actually cut it out in chunks. So if you do the same movement and back out, you can come over here and you can cut sections out. So instead of making that tight turn, I just cut it in different chunks. And you can do that kind of all over your project. After all of it's cut out, then I will teach you how to file.